DawgNation's Next Generation series is brought to you by Pella Window and Door of Georgia. Pella, any style, any home, any budget. Visit PellaofGA.com to get started.
DawgNation, here we are, week 16. Kaylee, Mansell, Jeff Sentell with the Hawaiian shirt for a very, very special reason. Today we are bringing you a big one. He is the highest rated signee out of the 2023 class, number 3 edge in the entire country, 5-star Damon Wilson, Venice, Florida, hence Jeff's Florida shirt he's got right here. We got a chance to see him a little bit during spring ball, a little bit during G-Day. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I kind of feel like, this might be our last one, so that's why I got my vacation shirt on a little bit or whatever. But, man, Damon Wilson is a guy. Like, I know this young lady would love to us end on a 5-star note, but and thanks to guys for everybody for being a part of these. But let's jump right in. Damon Wilson, okay. What's that word? War daddy, dude, Himothy. Like, there's so many names right now that basically tell you, like, dude, this dude can play. He can dip, rip, and bend and spin. I think one of the things you're looking for in this class for Georgia is they really, and it might be to their detriment a little bit in the 2024 class, but think about Gabe Harris, think about Samuel Mpemba. Now you think about Damon Wilson, and you also got Marvin Jones Jr., who basically was hurt most of his freshman year. You got a lot of guys that can really 5-star level ability that can come off the edge, and Damon might be that war daddy of them all, because I'm going to tell you, one of the things he can do is he can get to the passer. I think he had 2 sacks in the G-Day game, and he was rated so highly for a reason, but like the stuff on this guy, I think he back squats like 575 pounds. I think he bench presses 420, 430. There's a lot to like. I mean, everybody's getting on him a little bit because he's not 6'6" or 6'5" and 270, but I'm gonna tell you what, you want to put some instant pass rush and create some havoc. Damon Wilson would be a good guy to call upon.
Now, to be a Himothy, I love that use of the word right there. You've got to have some good high school stats and film to back you up. What does his high school production say about the kind of athlete he's going to be? So
I can remember great coaches I've ever been around. They try to tell their players, be at your best when your best is required. Well, first of all, Damon plays in 7A Florida high school football out of Venice High School. That is the granddaddy, the largest level of classification in Florida. Now they have a lot of they have Metro, they have suburban state titles now. It really gets complicated. But he played against Tyler Williams in Lakeland. We know Tyler Williams from one of our previous Next Generation. Lakeland's won national championships before. And Damon, I'm going to go to his junior year stat line first because he had 15 sacks and he had 25 quarterback pressures. And that's a lot. That's a lot, especially when everybody knew you from your sophomore year and they're like, dude, if we do anything this week, we got to block that guy. We got to tell him a joke. We got to fall down. We got to hold him. We can't let him get loose. And Damon Wilson got loose time and time again. He made so many plays. Venice won the state championship game his junior year. And he had the sacks, he had the pressures, but he had one, which I think is pretty funny if you search for this online. It caused the official score to get a little creative because they called it a pick six. But what he did really is he was in the quarterback's face, and he deflected the ball to himself, and then basically a matter of mere yards, if that, ran to the end zone. And it was a pick six where he tipped the ball to himself. And then in the state championship game last year when they lost to Lakeland, he still had like 8 tackles. He had a sack. He had some tackles for loss. So, I mean, he had 94 tackles one year, last year with 10 sacks, and that was when their season and practices were disrupted by Hurricane Ian, where these teams weren't even practicing during the week. And then that was off of his bonkers junior year. And really, the decision came down to Alabama, came down to Georgia and Ohio State. And there was some intrigue. I know you love some signing day hat dance intrigue. Well, apparently it was discovered that when, the 3 hats that were down there, well, apparently it was discovered that the Georgia hat, the tag was missing, or it was already peeled off. So some sleuths before his decision were like, well, we certainly know where you're going. And then Damon Wilson was made aware of that, and he picked up the Ohio State hat and ripped that tag off as well. So he wanted to have some drama and some intrigue to his decision. He ended up choosing the Dogs. I think Kirby Smart was the only coach that came and watched him at a game. Pass rush. Hat tip to Coach Chidiria Uzodiribe right now. That was one of his big recruiting wins for Georgia on the trail where, Damon Wilson is set up to be one of those guys. Now remember, Georgia lost Nolan, Georgia lost Robert Beal to the NFL, and they needed to restock that Wolfpack room, and you certainly see Damon Wilson as a guy, as referenced from the spring game, as a guy that can come in and create a lot of instant pass rush.
Now, how soon can we expect to see him on the field, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that might take a minute, because maybe he might be a situational guy where you got to see where Marvin's health is. You got to see, like, is he going to be a good run fitter? Is he going to be a guy run stuffer? Or he will be a guy maybe like, because you got to remember, there's also a guy, a really talented dude named Darius Smith, also waiting in the wings, and been at Georgia one more year than Damon, that also could be that third down situational pass rusher. There's Chaz Chambliss. One thing I think Georgia accomplished was, if Georgia takes an injury like they had with Nolan Smith last year with the pectoral muscle, then they've got some options where Samuel Mpemba and Damon Wilson and Gabe Harris all do different things. But everybody wants a guy that can affect the quarterback. What are the two most important positions in football? It's the quarterback, and those that can affect the quarterback's play. That's an instant impact pass rusher like Damon Wilson. He's a 5-star with good reason. Like, a lot of these times, Kaylee, we see these players and they're really highly rated and they kind of disappear, and they kind of get game planned out, and whether it's the big ball game in the regular season or whether it's the playoffs. Not with this young man, Damon Wilson. This is a guy that, I mean, if they make a sequel series to the Game of Thrones, and you want one of those guys on the wall, you want one of those guys, maybe the King's Guard or whatever, Damon Wilson is one of those guys that can get the job done.
Well, DawgNation, now that Next Generation is potentially coming to a close, we wanted to end off on a bang, and I don't think that could have been any other way but with Damon Wilson. Thank you for tuning in with us week after week as we showed you the next generation of talent headed to Athens. And now, Damon Wilson, your watch begins.